pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From Auto Club Speedway, the Racers Elite Xfinity Series is ready to attack the asphalt as we dive deeper into our season on a West Coast swing. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Fontana, California, where tonight we look to see who will capture the checkered flag at one of our sport's now immortal racetracks. Last week at Talladega, Chicken Coop Racing swept the top three spots as they drafted their way to dominance on the Super Speedway. Now this week, as we turn our attention back to the intermediate tracks here at this mile-and-a-half oval. I'm Dave Regal alongside my partner in crime, Mr. Alan Bergen, here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, and we'd like to thank you for making SRM a part of your evening, because we'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, right off the top, I want to address the elephant in the room from last week, as we came on late. Of course, we are right on time this evening. I do apologize as I had a family emergency. Unfortunately, my team here at Sim Racing Media was kind enough to bail me out, so I do appreciate that very much. As we take a look here at Kyle Cooper on his second lap here for qualifying as qualifying is underway. Alan, it is good to be back here in the saddle with you.
Yeah, welcome back, buddy. It was a good race last week at Talladega, but nonetheless, we're here at Fontana, and we're in for a whale of a show here, uh, Dave. And I'm glad to have my partner in crime back.
Believe me, there are times where, I wish dumb stuff didn't happen, but, stupid is as stupid does, as they say. But, I'm just glad to be here in the broadcast booth, and I apologize to, of course, our organizers here at Racers Elite for the Xfinity Series. Of course, I know that there were some folks that were upset with me, and I do apologize for that. But Ian Campbell here in the number 12 Ford Mustang, he's all wound up. He's already gone fifth on the timing line on his first lap, and as he comes to cross the start-finish line here on lap number 2, let's see if he improves on that time. He does and goes fastest. Ian Campbell, now your pole sitter, right ahead of Lee Campbell.
Yeah, I just wonder if he finished up his second lap, and right now he's got the 40.79, and the guy's got a best stat lap. And last week's winner, Andrew Teft, he liked his he ran good on the super speedway. We didn't really have any cautions, Dave, until the end of the race when we had a green-white checkered, and it was a pretty good race in Talladega.
Yes, sir. As we take a look here at our standings, here we go. John Schoenbachler from Louisville, Kentucky. Of course, in sports, it's Louisville. And, of course, to the rest of the world, that's Louisville. But right now, he's got the number 9 Maxwell House Chevrolet, good to the last drop. So, obviously, he's going to be playing the fuel mileage game as Kensley Smith here in the 15 Napa Machine from Tarboro, North Carolina, going to be getting underway here for lap number 2. Of course, that throwback paint scheme to Michael Waltrip in the DEI days. Always good when we get to see those throwback paint schemes, because I'll tell you what, they definitely, bring up a lot of good memories, so to speak. So always glad to see that here with Kensley Smith, as Kensley going to come out of turn number 4 here. You can see not quite down at the white line. That's going to affect some speed, but a lot of that momentum going to drag him out to the wall as he dives back down here, not taking the full apron, crossing the start-finish line, and Kensley Smith going to stay put in 7th position.
Yeah, Dave. So, unlike Talladega where we had out of bounds, here there is no out of bounds. You can go all the way up to the wall, or you can drive all the way down to the apron. Personally, I prefer to come off of turn 4 and make a beeline for the apron, as you're essentially driving downhill, and you can pick up speed.
Yes, sir. As we are here on Valentine's Day, right off the beginning of this piece, we want to make sure we tip our hats to, of course, all of our significant others who allow us to do that. Of course, these guys here on the racetrack usually make sure that they thank the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, but tonight they got to be thanking the little lady or otherwise that's, letting them know that it's okay to do this for the night. But obviously there are going to be some consolation dinners tomorrow night in post-Valentine's Day.
Yes, you're right. And like you said, tip a hat to our wives and significant others for allowing us to come on here and hang out with the boys, essentially. As we are looking at Matthew Jarrett, he is trying to best Ian Campbell's 40.79, and he's one of those guys, Dave, that had a good solid run last week. As he's been he's starting to make his way in the series. I believe he wasn't quite eligible for the chase, or he actually was eligible for the chase. I'm sorry. So,
well, and
either
Matthew
way,
Jarrett coming across the start-finish line here in 4th position on the timing line. Ian Campbell still sitting atop the pile in the number 12. Brandon Honeycutt getting ready to come out and complete that first lap here in the number 16 from Elizabethton, Tennessee. Ronnie Norman doing the same thing. Speaking of throwback paint schemes, that's going to be my favorite of the day, as I grew up a fan of the number 8 driven by, of course, none other than iRacing Executive Director Dale Earnhardt Jr., but Gordon Spain as well from Fredericksburg, Virginia, here in the 33. A lot of cool paint schemes tonight here at Auto Club. Of course, the Skull paint scheme, made famous about 30 years ago, out here making an appearance. Alex Teft from Hope Valley, Rhode Island, here in the number 43 Aflac machine. So everybody getting their reps in here in qualifying. Ronnie Norman going 10th fastest, Andrew Teft going 13th. Brandon Honeycutt, slowest right now of the drivers who have completed their first lap, in 18th position. We're going to see if he can improve upon that. Ronnie Norman just shot right to the top of the timing tower and now sits atop the pole. Brandon Honeycutt coming across the start-finish line is going to improve to 17th position. So Ronnie Norman right now, your pole sitter here in the number 8 Budweiser machine.
You mentioned throwback schemes, Dave. And last night, I don't know if you watched the truck race, but last night, Gordon Spain threw it all the way back to Ricky Rudd when he was driving for RCR. In the truck race.
No, that's cool.
That was real
That's
cool.
a very long time ago. My
That's-
God.
It was the number 3 truck. It was the number 3 when it was the year that I believe that Dale Earnhardt drove the 15 car, who I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Junior Johnson owned that car.
I would have to check.
Car.
That I'm not 100% sure of, but
it was,
for some reason that sounds right.
and then Ricky Rudd was actually in the 3 car for RCR. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Gordon Spain from Fredericksburg, Virginia. He is out here on track right now, wrapping up his second lap. Looks like he took it easy for lap number 1 as he crosses the start-finish line. He's going to go 18th fastest, just ahead of Brandon Honeycutt and Dennis Kane. So going to be an interesting night here with just a few seconds left, about 40 ticks left on the clock here in qualifying. Of course, I want to welcome everybody in tonight and thank you for joining us and making us a part of your evening. As, to be completely honest, folks, this is a joy for us here at Sim Racing Media. It's always exciting when we get to, where did that come from? When we get to do these kind of things together and, of course, spend every week with one another. As it looks like Brandon Puffenbarger is in the pits but not going to come out and qualify. Still waiting to make sure nobody else tries to get out there as qualifying has wrapped up. That'll get everybody ready to rock and roll and get on in the cars. As we're waiting for everyone, testing our graphics out. Let's take a look at those qualifying results quick before we go through them one by one. Looks like Ronnie Norman going to bring home fastest time on the racetrack with a 40.71. My goodness, that's blistering quick. Ian Campbell going to join him on the front row. I see Austin Smith and Truth Hoke here back in 8th and 9th position. So obviously a lot going on tonight for these drivers. There's going to be some incredible competition.
Yes, sir, you're right. Oh, breaking news, Dave. I was wrong as Bud Moore. From 82 to 83.
Yeah, Bud Moore, Junior Johnson, they were all moonshiners once upon a time. But we're going to take a look here at the starting grid as Ronnie Norman going to have the point position here on pole from Terre Haute, Indiana. He'll be joined on the front row by Ian Campbell, who has yet to hop in the car. Come on, Ian. We'll have to come back to him. Andrew Teft going to start on the inside of row number 2, joined by Lee Campbell in the 14 machine. Kyle Cooper going to be on the inside of row number 3, joined by Matthew Jarrett. Ira Colehouse going to start in 7th position on the inside of row number 4 with Austin Smith starting on the outside of row 4. Row 5 and making up your top 10 going to be Truth Hoke and Kensley Smith, as we do see Ian Campbell having hopped into the car. We can check out that number 12 paint scheme. Body armor there on the front of the car, and I'll tell you what, body armor is one delicious beverage. Almost, I mean, I don't drink Bud Light, but if I did, Well, first off, I couldn't. I just plain old couldn't. John Schoenbachler going to be starting in 11th position on the inside of row number 6 with Alex Teft in 12th. Michael Brooks and Joshua Neal going to be in row 7, while Todd Slauson and Chris Blasi going to be in row number 8. Row number 9 made up of Aaron Marquis and Gordon Spain, while Brandon Honeycutt and Dennis Kane will be featured in row number 9. Row 10 going to be Brandon Puffenbarger and Corey Crowell, while with Jeremy Carter here starting in 22nd, and not taking the start, it appears at this moment, going to be Marshall Harris and Kensley Smith, as they will miss the start. So curious whether or not they'll hop in once we get underway, if maybe they wanted to start from the pits. That's a strategy that we've seen pretty often here on the iRacing servers, so not completely unheard of. So as it stands now, 22 drivers scheduled to take the green flag when we get moving. 98 laps the scheduled distance around this 1.5-mile oval in Southern California. As we can see some of those campers there on the outside of the racetrack. The palm trees down the back chute here. In case you ever get lost, you know you're on the back chute if you're looking at palm trees.
Yes, you are. And to go back to your Bud Light comment there, if you drink Bud Light, Dave, I was pretty sure you would need Aflac afterwards.
Yeah, got to be honest, not a fan. Not a fan.
Not a fan of Bud Light.
You can see those playoff drivers up atop the pile in Norman Campbell and Teft. Of course, the playoff drivers highlighted by those green banners across the windshields. Grab some popcorn, call a friend, settle in. We're Green Flag Racing at Auto Club.
Ronnie Norman and the number 8 car are going to bring this field down through the tribal into turn number 1, as he's going to get the advantage through the middle of the corner and air, stand out 3 wide towards the middle of the field. But look out now, here comes Andrew Tuff making a move on Ian Campbell there on the inside. And Dave, these guys are going to be spread out all night. This is going to be the 3 wide action that this Speedway has to offer here.
Yeah, Andrew Teft and Lee Campbell exchanging blows already early on here, nearly making contact but keeping it simple here. You know, one of the things that I've talked about in Racers Elite before is the amount of safety that these drivers, command on the racetrack. I mean, right now, as we take a look here at Andrew Teft's dashboard, we can see here in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, 163 mile an hour through the corner. Now we head down the back chute, and he's going to start to have... Whoa! Speaking of safety, we've got one down on the apron. We stay green because he's down on the apron, but 190 miles per hour going into turn number 3. I don't know who that was that just went all kinds of cattywampus. It looks like Kyle Cooper in the 73. Let's take a run back here and see just what happened with Kyle Cooper. I'll tell you what, Alan, this was an interesting situation as we were, basically just getting underway here, and all of a sudden Kyle Cooper dumping one coming out of turn number 2. A little bit of contact there sent him down below, but everybody around him very aware of what was going on, so it keeps the race going green, and we log lap number 3.
Yeah, Ronnie Norman coming off of turn number 4. And like I said, we are logging lap number 3. And he floats that car all the way out to the wall there. Coming out of 4. And he is off to a sizable lead. He's a second ahead of Ian Campbell as we complete lap number 4. Or start lap number 4. So, I think these guys are going to be chasing this beer can all night.
It certainly seems that way, my friend. And, Ronnie Norman has not looked back whatsoever. In fact, 1 and 2 are Ronnie Norman and Ian Campbell. That's how they qualified, and that's how they run. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Brandon Puffenbarger already up 8 positions from where he had started back in 22nd. So Puffenbarger deciding that maybe he wants to, make a little hay here early in the run while he's got grip in those tires. While Marshall Harris started from the pits, as we kind of surmised earlier, and now here in the GOAT number 32, just kind of hanging out, basically the only car a lap down. So at this point, kind of going to have to hang out and wait for a caution to fly. God forbid. As we look at Austin Smith, who's now side by side with the 80, Matthew Jarrett, who was tied up with Kyle Cooper just a little bit ago, as Mr. Jarrett going to hold the high side here. Looks like Andrew Teft, though, has fallen back 3 positions and was just about to make a 3-wide sandwich and chose not to.
Yeah, Andrew Teft thought better of going 3 wide there, especially with Matthew Jarrett and Austin Smith. I think it's a little too early in the race to be doing all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, this track, you can go 3 wide. And so, as we see Austin Smith slide up in front of Matthew Jarrett there, and that's a battle for P7, or P5 rather, or 4. I'll get my numbers right in my math.
Well, math doesn't math right.
Well, I called, so the other night, John said my math wasn't mathing. So, well, St. Louis math is different than other math.
For some reason, that doesn't surprise me. Y'all only know how to count to 12 as in ounces of a beer bottle there, huh?
Right. I'll give you that one.
Well, you know, I'm just saying. I don't have anything against St. Louis, but maybe I will. I'll work on it. Right now, taking a look at Andrew Teft once again here in the 98. Playoff driver here making his way through the field as he works just over top of the 29 of Ira Kohlhaas. Kohlhaas holding his ground, starting in 7th, running in 7th, just kind of waiting things out right now. I mean, at this stage in the race, you have to wonder to yourself, do you wind up, thinking to yourself, do I want to try to chase down Ronnie Norman right now? Or do I want to hang back and see what happens? And right now, if I was everybody else, I would probably consider hang out, wait to see somebody else make a mistake. That's pretty much where you're at.
I think that's where you're at, too, because this field's going to get awfully spread out. And if you're Marshall Harris, last night's truck winner, you really need to. You really need a caution to come out to get back on the lead lap, or else you're going to do it the hard way, which might be via a pit stop or or just driving through the field like a madman.
Andrew Teft kind of finding himself now in a sweet spot where he's got plenty of room in front of him, plenty of room behind him, as most of the field's starting to get strung out here. Todd Slauson back in 19th position as we drift back in the 88 Nationwide car. That's the second Dale Jr. paint scheme I've seen this evening. Whoa, getting all of a sudden drafted up by Jeremy Carter. That was a beautiful pass there, and we're just going to take a quick run back at it as we just happen to be close enough to see it with the blimp. We're going to follow along here with the blimp. We can see Carter just draft up to the rear. He knows that he can get the run. Now he's going to do it for a second time coming out of turn 4. And as he takes that momentum out of 4, here comes the pass, and he's going to draft himself right back down.
Yeah, that was a textbook move there. And I don't dare say it, but he did pick up a little bit of the proverbial side draft. So,
well, it's okay if you want to side draft in a place like this. You certainly can't do it on the street course in Chicago, as our esteemed teammate here, Daniel Paulus, thought you could. I just rolled my eyes incredibly hard. I think I just saw a memory. Austin Smith here challenging now Lee Campbell for second position. Ian Campbell trying to hold on to that third position as they are fender to fender coming into 3. Now they put a little bit of space underneath them, and all of a sudden Austin Smith able to cede that, to take that position away as Ian Campbell cedes away fourth place. But when we look further back here, Brandon Puffenbarger in the 5 trying to do battle now with Alex Teft in the 43. And he has Joshua Neal just on his high side.
Yeah, Joshua Neal, he's one of those guys, he had a ton of good luck last week. He had a good run. A lot of these guys when they went to Talladega. Talladega to me, Dave, is you know going back in memory lane. Talladega for me is kind of like one of those I call it slot machine tracks. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Believe me, I know lots of guys here on iRacing that believe that sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Especially here we are, and we're going to talk about this here many times throughout the evening, but NASCAR season is finally back upon us as the regular season set to get underway Sunday night. Of course, tomorrow night going to be the duels down in Daytona to set the field, but Sunday, of course, Sunday afternoon, the Great American Race, the Daytona 500, going to be live on Fox, and I don't know about you, Ellen, but I'm excited. I can't wait.
I'm excited too, and I kind of wish I'm with Dale Jr. on this. He talked about it on the Dale Jr. download. I kind of wish the class was back in Daytona. I mean, the Coliseum is great, for an exhibition race, but there's just something about having speed weeks in Daytona.
No, I agree with you. I mean, to move, if you really think about it, we had the Clash 2 weeks ago, well, a week and a half ago now, as drivers were arriving at Daytona yesterday and today for the 500, and of course the other festivities that go along with that. Of course, ARCA, trucks, Xfinity, everybody heads to Florida and the East Coast. Of course, for some of us, yes, it's Daytona 500 weekend, but it's also opening week for spring training and Major League Baseball. But anywho, I digress. The thing is, you've got all of these guys that now have to pack their things, go to the West Coast, have a quick exhibition race in Southern California, and then pack up, turn around, and many of them having to drive back to North Carolina. I mean, that's not an easy feat. You've got to have your crew fresh. This is the opening week of the year. You want to make sure that you're at 100%. You don't want to have some kind of crazy accident that, could affect your entire team. Speaking of accidents that could affect your entire team, Truth Hoke working underneath Andrew Teff now, who's lost 4 positions, running in 7th right now, as Truth Hoke looking to try to get around. We see now Truth Hoke being pushed along the racetrack by the 43 of Alex Teft. So basically Truth is between the Teft brothers, and nearly 3 wide here with Brandon Puffenbarger on the low side. Puffenbarger going to shoot here, and here it comes. Maybe not. Nope, Puffenbarger tucks back in behind the 59.
Puffenbarger thought wiser to just fall back in line and not make an aggressive move so early in the race, as he's going to slide up, and that was a nice slide job there coming off of turn 4.
Absolutely. The MVP roofing number 5 cranked up and up 13 positions now. So obviously he is, at least he may not be an MVP roofer, but he's certainly an MVR racer. Ronnie Norman having logged every lap of this race from the front, 17 in the books. He officially has led every lap. Ian Campbell, who is his front row mate, has dropped back to 4th position. That puts Lee Campbell in 2nd, and Lee Campbell is about to be harassed by Austin Smith, it appears.
Yeah, Austin Smith is stalking Lee Campbell there in the 14 car, the driver out of Burlington, Wisconsin. And, you mentioned NASCAR season's upon us. The World of Outlaws have already kicked off their season there in Volusia. The Lucasville Dirt Late Model Series has already kicked off their season. High Limit is kicking off their season this week. So, and they're just in, that's the cool thing about being in Daytona. There's no shortage of racing that you can go watch. And I think it's cool that, last night we got to see Kyle Larson run in the sprint car until he essentially ran out of talent and got KO'd by another car. But, that's the thing that happens in cars.
Well, and just to piggyback off of that, we see a lot of drivers that come from asphalt, and a cup driver will occasionally appear in the Xfinity or the Truck Series, so on and so forth. We know all about that. But when you go back to dirt racing, especially in a sprint car, as much horsepower as those little machines have, you can ultimately run out of talent. I mean, I realize that Larson, came through that pedigree, but after a while, you kind of forget about, how hard it is to get down and dirty on the dirt.
Yeah, and then to piggyback off of that too is, I like the fact that like Kyle Larson will go back and run sprint cars, and these guys will go, on a Saturday night will jump into a late model or a street stock and go race the local dirt track. I like that because it gives fans that would not normally get to see their favorite driver at a NASCAR race, they get the chance to see them at a dirt track.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and maybe not necessarily a favorite driver, but Kenny Schrader's been doing that for years. I mean, Kenny Schrader is getting up in age, but certainly not going to be down and out in competition now. I know Schrader last year ran the SRX series, which is now defunct, but, he also runs a lot of dirt track, events. He goes up to Oswego in New York. I mean, it's just neat to see some of these guys not forget where they came from. And I think some of that is where I gain respect for many of these drivers in real life. And speaking of respect, Ira Kohlhaas earning my respect as he's going to start battling it out here with Matthew Jarrett. I want to welcome everybody into the YouTube.com live chat. As we peek on over here, Michael Smith saying good evening. Corey Crowell saying same. And Michael Smith saying, let's go Midwest Motorsports. So we've got a couple of people active in our YouTube.com live chat. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you subscribe to Sim Racing Media. Turn on those bell notifications. Let us know who you're pulling for here in the live chat and what you're looking to see here on the racetrack. It's always something, to me, exciting when we get to interact with you, the fans at home. And let us know what you got going on. We're absolutely, basically, it's open phone line, open conversation in the YouTube.com live chat.
Yeah. It is absolutely open phone line. Even if you, just want to get some stuff off your chest. We're like therapy. This is like a therapeutic session. When you need a good laugh, you just come listen to Dave and Alan just ramble for about an hour and a half.
Well, and time is ticking away. In just 15 minutes, we've now seen 23 laps go in the books. I mean, to me, that's incredible. These drivers have managed to keep it green. Everybody kind of watching themselves on the racetrack, watching out for their friends and their brothers. As we've got a little bit of a pack going here now, we see the 29 of Ira Kohlhaas trying to get around Matthew Jarrett. Or I'm sorry, Lee Campbell in the 14 as Lee Campbell holding off Jarrett and Kohlhaas now. As Matthew Jarrett is now being scored in that 5th position. Looks like green flag pit stop's going to begin as Andrew Teff, Joshua Neal, Jeremy Carter, and Marshall Harris are all going to come down pit road. Of course, Marshall Harris already down a lap, so trying to keep things copacetic, come in with the leaders, get that that pit strategy correct. As we see everybody quietly coming down pit road. Andrew Teff just pulling into his pit box. We're going to watch the right side pop up, so this will be 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast as he's going to put those light years on. Ronnie Norman, though, still our race leader after 25 laps, a quarter of the way through already for these drivers. Now Corey Crowell, Gordon Spain, Todd Slauson, Aaron Marquis all coming down pit road, while Ronnie Norman has become the Pied Piper here of Fontana, California.
Yeah, he's the guy that everybody's chasing right now. Is Austin Smith.
Excellent observation.
Yeah, he's the hare. He's the hare, and all the little rabbits are chasing the hare. Or you could go back to the tortoise and the hare.
All right, you're going too far down the proverbial rabbit hole.
We got to work on the comedy.
No, we could just laugh at you. It's fine. Austin
hey,
Smith, Brandon Puffenbarger, John Schallenbachler, all coming down pit road. Alex Teff, Dennis Kane, and Kyle Cooper all coming down. Aaron Marquis is now off pit road. So after 26 laps, Ronnie Norman now with 4.5 seconds over Ian Campbell. You almost have to wonder, are we playing the fuel mileage game here as he's obviously got a tank full of Budweiser. Or are we playing the tires game? He doesn't seem to be having a whole lot of fall off, about 2 seconds even from his best time of 40.69, as we can see right here on the left those times at 42.72 now. And let's just look at the lap times here for Norman, or at least the time delta. Norman has consistently been slowing down over Ian Campbell, but you can see that graph just slowly creeping itself up further and further to 5 seconds, the gap between Norman and Campbell. Meanwhile, as we look at the lap time itself, we can see Campbell running slower and slower. Ronnie Norman now coming down pit road. He's decided it's time to blink. That's going to open up about a little bit of an opportunity now for Coalhouse, as Norman Campbell, Hoke, and Honeycutt, along with Jarrett and Lee Campbell, all come down pit road.
Yeah, I figured he was going to be real close to lap 30, if not 27. But so that way should be coming in right around lap 57 for his final pit stop. I think they do it in 2 stops.
Well, if you can stretch that fuel out and keep your lap times competitive, there's no reason you can't do this race in 2 stops. Ira Kohlhaas and Chris Blasi, the only 2 drivers not to come down pit road, of course, with the exception of Kensley Smith, who hasn't logged that many laps there. Last came in, let's see, Kensley Smith about 5 laps down now.
Yeah, Kensley Smith is... Here comes Coalhouse and Blasi down pit road to get their services. And like you said, get light years and go fast. So with that being said, that will essentially turn the lead back over to Ronnie Norman. It has pit stops that cycled through.
This is the tightest that we've seen Ronnie Norman with any driver on the racetrack, as Austin Smith is creeping up behind Ronnie, and now they get past, and here comes the end of the cycle as Kohlhaas and Blasi going to pop down or fall down the timing line. But Ronnie Norman with just about a 0.3 of a second gap between himself and Austin Smith. This is the closest gap that we've seen all night here with Ronnie Norman.
Yeah, Ronnie Norman. Brandon Poffenberger is still trying to close in there and catch the top 2 drivers here, Ronnie Norman and Austin Smith. Man, I just love that paint scheme. I can't get over it. But at any rate, it's a good looking paint scheme. I love the buck car. I'm like you. I love the DEI days. That's when I felt he was in the best part of his career. He was young, part of the Young Guns, just to let Young Guns days. He's a part of. So, but nonetheless, these guys are minding their PTQs. We're 30 laps into a 98 lap race. So still a lot of racing to go. It's almost like a sister track to Michigan, if you will. So,
and this track is a lot like Michigan in many different ways. The one thing though with Michigan is that you can hold that throttle wide open a lot longer, as you do have to burp it to get the car to rotate here at Auto Club. We can see just outside the windshield of Ronnie Norman, our race leader, the way that he's going to get off the throttle and rotate this corner. So Ronnie passes that signal light here and gets off the throttle at about the second NASCAR banner. And all of a sudden, Ronnie Norman with there it is, connection issue. What in the world? He's now missing the hood of the car. There it is. It's back. Things that make you go, huh.
Huh.
Riding along here once again with Ronnie Norman. He backs off at that 1 sign. He gets himself to rotate, burps the throttle just long enough to now get the car to rotate coming out of 2.
As you see him go down the back, and we're still on board. He's got that nice open track ahead of him. And he's got that clean air. As Ian Campbell's going to go underneath Matthew Jarrett, and that's a battle for 7th, but he can't complete the pass. So he's going to try it again. And he's going to try to get a 2-for-1 special and follow, try to get around Alex up there in that number 43 Aflac Ford Mustang. And, you know, I want to put out there that there's only 3 Toyotas in the whole field, and the rest are Chevys and Fords.
And when you say the rest are Chevys and Fords, really it's just 5 Fords, everybody else with a bow tie on the front of their machine. So an interesting field, as we've seen a lot of that lately on the iRacing.com service. Everybody very Chevy heavy. But while everybody here is getting themselves settled in after green flag pit stops, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal, he's Alan Bergen, and this is the Racers Elite Xfinity Series.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back to Auto Club Speedway, where Ronnie Norman has been dominant so far. He started from the pole. He still leads this race. And I'll tell you what, Alan, I haven't seen too much better than that all night long, as right now Brandon Puffenbarger and Corey Crowell both up 19 positions, running in third and fourth. Dave Regal here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Alan Bergen. You're watching Racers Elite Xfinity Series action right here on Sim Racing Media. We want to thank you for making us a part of your evening as you tune in with us here on YouTube.com. And we want to thank you for joining us on YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you can be notified every time we go live, as we've got racing just about every night of the week. And Alan, this so far is probably the most impressive performance that I've seen.
Yeah, so if you go into the dictionary right now and you look at perfection, guess what? Ronnie Norman's face is going to be pleasant right next to that word, as he is demonstrating perfection right now, as he is out to a 3.5-second lead over Austin Smith, and it's almost 4.5 seconds over Brandon Puffenbarger. And, you know, Corey Crowell there in fourth, he's one of two Toyotas in the field. And, you know, just Ronnie Norman right now is just leaving me totally speechless. And,
yeah, you know, last evening I had a chance to sit and watch the All-Pro Sim Series, and I'll tell you what, usually kind of a head-scratcher, but we went green flag from flag to flag.
Yeah. So...
I'm just
that
having
was
a complete mental lapse here.
That's okay. We're allowed to. When you have our day jobs, the mental lapse is warranted every once in a while.
Yeah, but now I'm curious what I did last night. I forget. I worked with Frank. I know that.
I believe that was Sunday Cup League.
No, it wasn't that.
Was it? No, it was Extreme. Rico.
There we go. We were on Rick Motec. That's right. Rick Motec last night went green to checkered with no yellow in between.
It takes me a minute. Yeah, like I said, when you have our day job, you're warranted a mental lapse every once in a while. It's good for the brain.
Well, 44 laps in the books here, so just about the halfway point in this race. And Ronnie Norman has led all 44 of them. Ian Campbell, though, he slid back a little bit as he was on the front row to start this piece, running the number 12 in now 10th position. I'm sorry, 6th position. So it's kind of interesting here, you know, to see what's transitioning around the racetrack. Is, you know, you may have been great in qualifying, but once you get in that dirty air, it's not always beneficial. And it seems like that's where Ian Campbell is, as we're going to ride along with him here on the nose. He's all of a sudden going to start working underneath Ira Kohlhaas. And we can see here Kohlhaas in the 29 holding his own, doing his very best to try to hold that together. And, of course, another throwback to the DEI days. And, you know, it's a shame of what happened with DEI and the way that things kind of came apart. And from what I gather, the day that they stopped working at Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, Teresa shut down the shop, locked the door, and everything supposedly is exactly the way that it was the day that they closed.
That's crazy.
I mean, she, to be completely unfair, she ruined that business.
Yeah, I think Dale Jr. only wanted like 51% of the majority stake in the DEI. So, but you know, he has Junior Motorsports, and I believe one day they'll go cup racing.
You know, here's the thing. You might think that Junior Motorsports will go cup racing, but at the end of the day, I think it's more important to be developing. And, you know, they have really mastered, you know, the Xfinity Series, obviously, with championships and, you know, more checkered flags than you can shake a stick at. And, you know, I think that Dale Jr. takes great pride in developing the drivers that he does. Of course, he was successful in the Xfinity Series, you know, as a youngster, you know, back-to-back championships and, you know, taking that AC Delco car to victory lane. You know, these drivers now, there's no real minor league. And as a baseball fan, you can always send somebody down to the minors and work on a swing, a pitch, a stance, whatever you have to. In NASCAR, there are a lot of drivers that once they get promoted to Cup, they never turn back around. Dale Jr., on the other hand, has, and he has done so with class and grace that I swear only a true fan of racing could have.
Yeah, and I just want to take your point and send it on. The fact that John Hunter Nemechek went back down to the Xfinity series and built himself back up. So maybe their rookie campaign wasn't what they thought it would be in the Cup Series. So they went back down so that way they could prove that they could essentially do like a reset on their NASCAR Cup career journey, and so I think that was kind of cool to see that. And then Noah Gragson gets signed with Stuart Haas after all the things that he's been through. So I definitely can appreciate the Xfinity series because there's a lot of talent.
I'll tell you what, first of all, I had the chance back in October to hang out in the pits and behind the scenes at the Xfinity race in Miami, and those drivers are just really cool individuals, for lack of a better term. They don't, it's not like they think that they're better than you. They're the kind of guys that you could sit around the back of the hauler with, have a beer, and just say, hey, how was your day? And just looking back here to this race, Joshua Neal working underneath the 33 of Gordon Spain now. Gordon Spain holding that high line, and he's got a ton of speed up here on the high line. He's using that as best he can to his advantage. Interestingly enough, though, Joshua Neal drifting up just opened the door for Dennis Kane, who now is going to take that chicken coop machine and wedge himself underneath the 82, securing away 12th position.
Yeah, taking 12th position. He's going to go to work on the Skull Bandit car of Gordon Spain. And earlier you mentioned how you like that throwback too. Yep, got green flag pit stops, Andrew Duff and Joshua Neal coming up, and they're going to be the first two down pit road on lap 49. And, speaking of green flag pit stops, I think Ronnie Norman is going to go to lap 57. I really do feel that.
The 82 overshooting the pit box, and speaking of Ronnie Norman, let's take a peek at him as Austin Smith, Brandon Puffenbarger, and Corey Crowell all down pit road. So that's going to shuffle Ian Campbell and Ira Kohlhaas up to second and third position, but 10.5 seconds between Norman and Campbell. So right now, Ronnie Norman is just in cruise control, or really cruise command, as the Pied Piper of Southern California continues to pick him up and lay him down here on lap number 51.
Yeah, lap 51. He is about halfway to Las Vegas right now with this gap that he's got, and he just walking the dog. As we got more cars down pit road, we got Jeremy Carter, Dennis Kane, Andrew Taft is still on pit road, and he's finally going to make his way out.
Yeah, you have to wonder what Teft is still doing down there. And looking here at the schedule as we get ready to move forward next week, of course, we're here at Auto Club. Next week, we're going to go to Chicagoland, so another racetrack that's not on the NASCAR schedule anymore, as is Auto Club here. Of course, Auto Club being reconfigured as it was closed back in October to begin the reconfiguration project. And, I have to admit, it's exciting to wonder what's coming next for this piece.
I'm excited too, but I tell you what though, the next gen package, as we got Ian Campbell and Ira Kohlhaas in the pits now, the next gen package really raced well here, and it made the race really exciting. And back in the spring of 2023. We got a couple guys. Aaron Marquis, he is in the pit in that number 41 Chevrolet. And Ronnie Norman is coming down pit road. He's in on lap 52. As we got, that looks like Brandon Honeycutt and Kinsley Smith is on track. For those guys, for the people in the YouTube chat that were wondering about Kinsley Smith, he is a multitude of laps down to Truth Oak there, as Truth Oak is the leader right now currently. Brandon Honeycutt is up to P3. And so once Blaze and Honeycutt and Jarrett Oak go in the pit road, that will circle back around to Ronnie Norman there in the 8 car.
And here is Kinsley Smith in the number 15 Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet Camaro. Of course, hearkening back to the 2001 Daytona 500 winner. And I'll tell you what, Michael that year was just incredible, and this paint scheme to me is just iconic in my memory. And of course, you know, the first memory that many of us have of the 15 is, of course, tragedy. But he, of course, went back 2 years later, won his second Daytona 500 in that 15.
Yeah. So, you know, to your point too, you know, that's always been a favorite paint scheme of mine. And he carried the same color sequence to Michael Waltrip Racing. As we got Matthew Jarrett in the pits now, Lee Campbell is on pit road, Alex Tuff is on pit road, Aaron Marquis is on pit road. Truth Hoke is going to come in, so is Brandon Honeycutt. Brandon Honeycutt's on pit road right now. That will turn the race.
Brandon Honeycutt just pirouetted down toward pit road. Let's run this back and see what happened, because that didn't seem to be very good at all. We see Honeycutt coming off. Oh, no, oh, no, oh, no.
Oh.
That is not a safer barrier there, kids.
That hurt. I think Brandon Honeycutt.
We're going to take another look at this, hopefully from the cockpit here, or at least from the nose. Just slid the tires, and here comes the wall. Not a hard hit, but hard enough.
That'll give you a headache in the morning.
It sure will. I mean, you know, that's tough for Brandon Honeycutt, but he gets back out there. Chris Blasi now down pit road. We're waiting for Austin Smith and Ronnie Norman to decide who's going to lead this piece, as Norman, for the first time all night, is without coming down pit road. Well, I mean, he has been down pit road, but actually has competition here at the lead as Austin Smith manages to get past him. I want to look through here and see if I can find where Austin Smith got around him, because, my God, it had to have been in the pits, and now Ronnie Norman driving like he wants that lead back bad.
Yeah, he's driving as he tries to make a move on Austin Smith going into turn number 3. And he's going to try to make the power move. Does he have the willpower to get the car by Austin Smith? It's a dead drag race to the line. And it gives the advantage to Ronnie Norman on lap 7. Excuse me.
I'll tell you what, Ronnie Norman just wrestled that lead back from Austin Smith, and I don't blame him one bit.
Yeah, he just pulled a power move on Austin
He did.
Smith.
He very much did. As Ronnie Norman regains the race lead here after a tough battle with Austin Smith, we see it's going to go Norman, Smith, Puffenbarger, Crowell, and Campbell, your top 5. Ira Kohlhaas in 6th position, Joshua Neal in 7th, John Schoenbachler in 8th, and Dennis Kane back in 10th position, rounding out your top 10. So these drivers, with just about 40 laps to go now, are starting to wonder who's going to blink first if they have, you know, because obviously there's still another pit stop in these cars before we get to the end. You have to start to wonder, okay, if I came down on 53, am I going to stay out till 73? Or am I going to try to stay out until the fuel runs out and then get fresh tires for one more run?
I think they're going to go conservative and go to lap 73. Just on, you know, just for the fact that we've been green all the way and no caution. So, I mean, Michigan earlier
you can't
in the year
use the term conservative. Every time somebody uses the word conservative, another MSNBC anchor quits their job.
Wow.
I went there.
You did.
39 laps to go here as Ronnie Norman going to be our race leader. We finally got a battle here between Gordon Spain and Truth Hoke in the 59. Hoke driving the doors right off of Gordon Spain. So now Truth Hoke running in 9th position, Spain in 10th, and Matthew Jarrett looking from the outside into the top 10 as Matthew Jarrett was tangled up early with Kyle Cooper, but, manages to keep it moving forward. So I'm pretty impressed to see, what a lot of these drivers have been able to do tonight.
Can we say that Ronnie Norman has kept this race fair and balanced?
You're really tiptoeing toward the edge, my friend.
We're going to watch.
As we take a look here, side by side, they go, whoa. Tucking right in behind Gordon Spain is Matthew Jarrett. So Jarrett maybe trying to save a little bit of fuel getting behind here, burping the throttle, using that draft to his advantage because they're going to work in tandem. And these Xfinity cars are incredible when you get to see them in tandem. Overall, it's an impressive thing because two cars at the Xfinity level can wind up being more powerful than a pack of 10. It's incredible.
Michael Brooks is on pit road, and Kinsley Smith is on pit road right now, as Kinsley Smith is about 3 laps down. He's about 4 laps down, 5. But anyways, I feel like that was an unscheduled pit stop for Kinsley Smith there in the number 15 car. Back to you.
Without a doubt, as Ronnie Norman continues to lead this race, we take a peek here at John Schoenbachler. Schoenbachler here in the Maxwell House number 9 Chevrolet, being harassed by Truth Hoke, who just drove the doors right off of Joshua Neal in 9th. So we've already missed Truth Hoke crawling past Matthew Jarrett, Joshua Neal, and then we catch him going past John Schoenbachler. And now a little 4-car battle here for what essentially is 8th position, as right now it just seems like Hoke is running away with that small pack.
Yeah, Hoke is like you said, running away. John Schoenbachler there and Matthew Jarrett, they're almost 3 wide, as you see. I believe that is Matthew Jarrett, or Truth Hoke back there. We're looking at Truth Hoke, but we see Matthew Jarrett and I think another car couldn't make out the number back there in that 3 because a little battle with Schoenbachler and it's Joshua Neal there. As they are almost 3 wide there behind Truth Hoke there, and that's a battle essentially for 8th, 9th, and 10th. Little 3 wide action going on there. About mid-pack as they finally get that sorted out amongst themselves.
It's always nice when you can sort out your differences without having to have a mediator.
Yeah.
Right now, John Schoenbachler leading Joshua Neal in the 82 as we move forward here on lap number 65. And I'll tell you what, so far so good tonight for these drivers.
I think this is the second time this series went flag to flag. So, and earlier in the season, Dave, to bring you up to speed, to peel back the curtain a little bit, they instituted a 15-point incident limit. So, that was a little rough at first, but then they figured out that it's easier to be clean than it is to run people over in the series. So, therefore, this series will teach you how to be drivers.
Well, and to your point, I mean, you can put that 15x limit on it, and we can talk about incident points later. But, the proof is in the pudding. 67 green flag laps have already been laid tonight, and nobody's screaming, nobody's fighting. It just seems like, everybody has really fallen into line, and I respect the heck out of that.
Oh, no.
Austin
SBC.
Smith.
Austin Smith.
Austin Smith here in the Milwaukee Toyota Supra. He's leading Brandon Puffenbarger by about 3/4 of a second. Then all of a sudden, there is 6.7 seconds way back to Corey Crowell. So that time between Puffenbarger and Crowell, we're going to watch grow over, this next period here. In fact, let's look at the time delta between the two. And we can see that time growing ever so gently now between Puffenbarger and Crowell.
Yeah, so, I think Crowell is maybe playing the, he's playing the reserve type thing. Maybe these guys will get up there and race a little harder and get side by side, and then that'll allow Crowell to keep up and creep up there and battle for position. As Hoffenberger is trying to annoy Austin Smith as Hoffenberger to the inside of Austin Smith coming off the 2. Does Hoffenberger have the position? And he clears Austin Smith for P2. And Hoffenberger will get that position pretty handedly there. As Austin Smith is like, you know what? You go ahead. As,
They've got plenty of time left, 30 to go now.
yeah.
And, that's 30 to go. Let's take a look at these lap times right now as we go. 42 seconds a lap. I mean, folks, time is literally melting away for these drivers, as this has to be one of the quickest races I've seen in a long time.
Oh, it is. 29 to go. In this one here at Auto Club Speedway, and Austin Smith is still he's buying his time, waiting for something to happen. Maybe he backs up to Corey Crowell, and then they start drafting together, and they start working as teammates. In the Midwest Motorsports, we're looking at Brandon Honeycutt there back in 16th position. He's out there all by himself. Dennis Kane, he's battling John Doctor. And these two have been around each other all night long. I think they have a magnet by each other, so that has brought these two cars together. But nonetheless, you guys are racing really respectful.
To your point, there are certain drivers that it just always seems like they are drawn together.
So Dave, you've driven a little bit, on iRacing.
I have.
Do you have those drivers that you're kind of when you run league stuff? Do you have those drivers you're kind of weary about racing around?
Not that I'm weary about. I don't get weary of drivers, but I know that there are drivers that I can get around, and either have a really good experience or a really bad experience. To my favorite point, one of my very dear friends is Brian Tarnowski from Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series action, and when I was a full-time racer in that series, it seemed like Brian and I were always near one another. It just seemed like we could never get away, and Brian, would somehow the 28 and the 21 were always next to one another. Whether we were at Talladega, whether we were at Dover, it didn't matter. We just somehow were always near each other.
And that's the cool thing, is when you earn the respect of your fellow competitors like that. Joshua Neal is on pit road here on lap 71. So I would have to suspect that we're around at lap 73. Get some gas in it, make the run here. I believe we're just a little over 25 to go. Get that last.
Officially, we are 25 to go.
So yeah, we're gonna get our last pit stop in, and then we're gonna make that 25 lap run to the end. Andrew Tuft is on pit road right now, getting his services.
Here comes Teft in the number 98 Racers Elite Ford Mustang. He brings a pit side as we're going to start that next pit cycle. cycle. Oh my, the hiccups are going to be strong tonight. As right now, Norman has a 4.26 second lead over Puffenbarger.
Drink some water upside down.
If I go upside down, you better call an ambulance. Looks like we're going to see Ira Colehouse coming down pit road. Matthew Jarrett doing the same. Todd Slauson down pit road in the 88. Sounds like the 4 is going to come down this time by, according to Race Radio. You know, that's something that peeling back the curtain on any broadcast, in NASCAR broadcasts on Fox, NBC, TNT, whatever it happens to be, they're always listening to Race Radio, so they're always listening. Oh, this driver, this driver, that. We do the same thing here. As we go 3 wide for what appears to be no reason at all. Kyle Cooper splitting the 4 of Dennis Kane and the 9 of Schoenbachler, as he and Schoenbachler are now going to go side by side. Once again, not sure why Kyle Cooper's challenging Schoenbachler, but it is what it is, and now Schoenbachler works his way on past.
Schoenbachler pulling the power. Well, I take it back. Kyle Cooper's going to pull the power move on Schoenbachler. So we got Ronnie Norman in the pit. Balazi's in the pit. Kane's in the pit. Lee Campbell's coming out of the pit. He's got his service. Ian Campbell in the pit. I mean, they're all starting to work their way down pit road. This is a hard pit road to get on. Yeah, you almost got to start slowing down about the middle of the corner to make pit entry. Because he's going to have a tough road to hoe, as that was a costly mistake, as we got Gordon Spain up here in the lead right now.
Yeah, Gordon Spain and John Schoenbachler, your race leaders. Brandon Honeycutt last coming in on 55. Truth Hoke is in now. And it looks like Ronnie Norman going to be clawing his way back up through, who was down on 76. So we should have enough for everybody to get to the end now with this pit stop. So that was the money stop, and now we're going to wait and see if anybody else is going to be a taker and see where Ronnie Norman is going to cycle back to. Essentially, it should put him back in the lead.
Michael Smith checking in the chat saying, Boo tried to scare the hiccups out of me.
Michael, I wish that would work. I for whatever reason, it's just now it's decided to be the time. All I've been drinking is water.
Brandon Poffenbarger, Austin Smith had enough and such a fast lap race for the 40.60. Schoenbachler and Brandon Honeycutt are on pit road right now. We have 20 to go. Gordon Spain still in control. He's going to come down pit road. We're going to watch Gordon Spain come down. Ooh, and he's going to miss pit road.
That'll do it. Let's take a look at that. That's not the first driver that we've seen tonight do this. And here comes Gordon Spain. Same way. Just comes in way too hot, and it's almost like they lock up the front left somehow and pirouette into the wall.
Pit road is being tough on these drivers right now, as that is a costly mistake. But nonetheless, Ronnie Norman will assume the race lead once again. As Michael, Gordon Spain is getting his services. Michael Brook there, he's down 7 positions. He's getting his pit services done for the night. Man, oh man, oh man. This has been all Ronnie Norman all night.
And while it is all Ronnie Norman all night long, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal. He's Alan Bergen. And we are proud to bring you Racers Elite Xfinity Series action right here on Sim Racing Media.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back to Auto Club Speedway here on Sim Racing Media. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. We are 12 laps to go right now in the Racers Elite Xfinity Series race here at Auto Club. And I'll tell you what, folks, this is something that we don't get to do very often, and that's watch a race flag to flag with nothing but green.
Green is the color of the night right here. as we are 11 laps to go. Green banners, green flag through 86 laps, and Ronnie Norman just he is
Yeah.
gone. He's
Ronnie
fucking
Norman has
gone.
been the story of the night, the Pied Piper of Southern California, as he has led just about every lap of the race with the exception of literally coming into the pits and allowing somebody else that literally had to lead the race because somebody's got to be number one. There are 4.8 seconds between Ronnie Norman and Brandon Puffenbarger. So, barring an unforeseen, catastrophe, we may see Ronnie Norman go flag to flag in the lead, assuming that he doesn't have a piston rod come poking through the hood.
I can't even follow that. Oh, there's 10 to go. Man, oh man. No, this is history. I love it. I don't think there's ever been a time in Auto Club Speedway history that someone has led flag with flag. But here, watching Jeremy Carter. He's on the inside of Gordon Spain there, and this is a battle for 15 right now. As Brandon Honeycutt is up there just creating havoc. He's like a roadblock, I think. Not necessarily a roadblock, but he's just kind of there.
Yeah, Ronnie Norman, the story of the night, and basically the closest battle on track because we haven't had, a caution to bunch everybody back up. The closest battle we have right now is here between Brandon Honeycutt and Gordon Spain, as Honeycutt about a quarter of a second ahead of Spain. This is one of those nights where, everything is going right for this league. And to your point, this league focuses on safe driving, focuses on good racing, and it is on full display tonight. No holds barred when it comes to safe driving for these people. And I'll tell you what, these racers have absolutely put a clinic on, and I'm going to make sure that, personally, I'm going to make sure that a lot of the other leagues that you and I get a chance to call take a peek here and, see exactly how good racing is supposed to be. Speaking of other leagues, tomorrow night, if you like hanging out with Alan and I tonight, you can tune in with us tomorrow night for Sunday Night NASCAR's Daytona Duels. They'll be live from Daytona Beach, Florida, as Speed Week is underway. And Sunday, of course, going to be our first Daytona 500 together, as you and I will be on the call here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. And I'll tell you what, I am genuinely excited for the start of NASCAR season.
Oh, for sure, I am too. And to piggyback off your first point there, I've said it all season long here in the series, and across the Racers Elite entirely, is you could take all these guys, spread them out to different leagues, and everyone in this 24-car field, I don't care who you are, has a legitimate shot in other leagues to actually run good and win. That just shows you how good these guys are. And, Andrew and Alex have run a pretty tight ship over here. And, I've seen, they've had to make some unpopular calls here earlier on in the season before you got to come aboard and be the voice, essentially, of the Xfinity series.
Well, you know what? And here's the thing. When you're a league owner like the Teft brothers, I mean, sometimes you do have to make unpopular decisions. One of the most thankless jobs on the face of the planet is to work race control on iRacing. These people are paying closer attention than even we are here in the broadcast booth to what everybody's doing on the racetrack. When a wreck happens, when a crash happens, they have to be able to make, in a short period of time, a determination of who was at fault and what the penalty is. Furthermore, say you're assessed a penalty and you're not supposed to have been, they have to be able to look at that footage and determine whether or not you really, deserve that penalty. So I say all that to say this, if you're in a league here on iRacing and you have this sudden wild hair that says, oh, I want to complain about race control, think twice. Race control can either save you or crucify you. And, these guys put a lot of effort into keeping an eye on what everybody else is doing, even while they're in their own cockpit.
Yeah, so, I want to further point along as we are 4 laps to go from the end, and I have no idea.
Do you have any
Yeah,
idea why it's called a cockpit?
I have no idea.
The term cockpit first appeared in the 1580s and originally meant a pit for fighting cocks. Cockfighting is a spectator sport that may have originated in ancient China, and a small arena for gamecocks was sometimes called a cockpit. Huh. And according to Google, because I was that curious, the original meaning was literally a pit where a cockfight happens. In the 1700s, it became the Royal Navy's term for the area where a coxswain, it's a nautical term, for a coxswain or ship's pilot was stationed. There you have it.
I feel like you can get your comedy and your education all in one spot here on SRM.
Join us here on Sim Racing Media, where we're here to entertain and inform. And as Ronnie Norman rolls out of turn number 4, he's going to cross the start-finish line. The popsicle sticks go in the air. We have 2 laps to go.
I was waiting for the more you know thing, the little shooting star with the more you know come across the screen.
No, I was very fortunate as a child never to be shied away from asking questions. And, I very much subscribe to the Magic School Bus theory of things where it's take chances, make mistakes, and get messy.
Ronnie Norman is working his way down the back straight into turn number 4 to get the white flag. The driver of that number 8 Budweiser car has he's driven a masterful race. I'm impressed.
Masterful he has as the popsicle sticks go down. The white flag is in the air. We are racing back to checkers. Folks, you have now witnessed 97 laps of green flag racing here at Auto Club Speedway. Ronnie Norman has dominated from flag to flag. The only laps that he hasn't led is while he was on pit road and had to let somebody else lead. But this shows why he's got that green fin there for his spoiler and the green across his windshield, signifying that he is a playoff driver and he has earned this spot as he rolls it out of turn number 4, coming back onto the front stretch. A great win from Ronnie Norman, beating Brandon Puffenbarger and the rest of the field by 4.9 seconds. Ronnie Norman, your race winner here at Auto Club.
Ronnie Norman, the race winner. Brandon Puffenbarger brings it home P2, and Austin Smith will round out your podium tonight. Dave, I tell you what, man, this is entertaining. To see this race go flag to flag. I didn't jinx a no-hitter in baseball, so.
Trust me, I'm very concerned when it comes to the flag-to-flag racing, because a little love tap there from the 23 of Austin Smith for Ronnie Norman. But I get a little superstitious as a baseball fan. So as we get ready to rock and roll here, let's see if we can get Ronnie Norman into the broadcast booth. Let's see here. Hey, Ronnie, it's Dave and Alan up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Buddy, listen, as you're sitting here celebrating and burning down those tires, take us through this race and tell us how you wound up here in Victory Lane, after dominating the bejesus out of this thing.
Well, I've vlogged many laps here at Auto Club, so this is definitely one of those races I had circled on the calendar. Just getting the pole position is just, from the start of the night, it's what you want to do. Start out front, get that clean air, and I mean, it's just being up front. It's just a whole new ball game with fresh air and being able to just race away from everybody in the back, trying to pass around and everybody. So, like I said, it was just it's a perfect night that everybody wants to have, and luckily we was able to keep the car clean, and hopefully maybe we can just load this thing up and take to Chicagoland for the championship next week.
I was going to say, next week is championship week at Chicago. You've got that green across your windshield, so obviously you will be racing for a championship. I'm going to assume that you are going to just be in full send mode.
Yeah, I mean, last race of the season, I don't really know how many points I made up on Austin tonight. I I know I didn't realize that they fixed the points from last week. There's a whole misconstrued thing going on with Talladega at that finish. But yeah, I needed this tonight after last week. I DNF'd at Dega and did not help my points out at all. So I just wanted to come in here and I guess I didn't know I was going to dominate. I didn't know what to expect. I knew going into practice it was going to be. I even said to everybody in the chat, it's not going to be a pack racing. It's going to be who can save your stuff and who can get away. And luckily, I've had experience in doing that, and I was able to do it again tonight.
Yeah, being able to repeat that kind of behavior on the racetrack is incredible. And I mean, I look at what you just did, and not only that, but I mean, the league as a whole. I mean, some of the greatest racing is done when everybody's keeping it clean. And, you folks all did it very well tonight here at Auto Club. So before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank for this run?
Yeah, just thank this number 8 team, Budweiser, being on the car every week. Shout out to Snyder Graphics for painting all my paint schemes for me. He always does an awesome job. Thanks to you guys for broadcasting these races. Finally got a chance to talk to you here in Victory Lane after you came in here. So nice to finally chat with you. Just shout out to everybody in this league for putting it on. Shout out to everybody in the Discord for chatting it up and making the race a little bit more interesting rather than all of us just sitting here just running around in circles. You also got to give it to Brandon too. He started 22nd and he finished second. So same thing with Corey. I mean, they got top fives and started deep in this field. So they definitely had good strategy tonight. And but yeah, like I said, congrats to Brandon on second and Austin in third. And yeah, we'll just have to go into next week. We'll see what the points are like here pretty soon when they post them, and we'll just have to see what next week is going to come down to. It's going to be interesting for sure.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, congratulations, and we will see you next week at Championship Week.
All right, I'll be there. Thank you.
Thank you. And Alan, I believe moving right along here that you have Austin Smith with you.
Austin Smith, it's Alan and Dave in the SRM booth. How's it going on it?
It's going pretty good. How are you guys?
Man, what a performance. We've seen the love tap there that you gave Ronnie Norman there on the cool down lap. Did you think that this race is going to go flag to flag all night?
Definitely not. I thought there were going to be a couple of cautions, especially with how loose it was on exit of 2 and exit of 4. But yeah, I just don't have good long run speed here at all. And I didn't qualify well, so the first field run it was tough because I had to race everybody and burn my stuff up and try to get a little closer to Ronnie. But at that point, he was gone. So no chance for me. Congrats to him.
Well, so next week is Championship Week. Give what's your thoughts on Championship Week next week as we head to Joliet, Illinois. It's a little closer to your hometown of Burlington, Wisconsin. So is that more or less going to be a home race for you next week?
Yeah, we'll see. It kind of feels very similar to Auto Club. So see what's in store. I mean, I've got a 5-point lead on Ronnie right now, so gonna have a good finish. I know he's gonna be up there and fighting for the win there as well. So just try to put in a little bit of practice this week. See what happens, I guess. But yeah, Ronnie's good. He's quick. It's always tough racing him.
All right, Austin, is there anybody that you would like to thank to help get you here tonight?
Yeah, I just need to thank my team, Midwest Motorsports, SRM, you guys for always putting on a great broadcast, and Andrew and everybody at Racers Elite for putting on the league, and also my family tuning in, watching, always supporting me.
All right, we'll get Austin Smith on out of here.
And last but certainly not least, I'm going to be Brandon Puffenbarger as we get Brandon on up here. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, listen, I wanted to save you for last year because not only do you finish on the podium, but you finished as the biggest mover in the race. Take us through this race and tell me, how did you get all the way through this traffic?
Just trying to save the right front as best as I could. I know a lot of guys were sliding up there towards the middle part of the run, so I was just trying to keep it low, and that's how I was getting a better drive off than some guys. But just taking my time, coming up through the field one by one, not trying to take too much too soon or anything like that. So,
patience is sometimes the name of the game. I mean, you see some drivers that try to start from the pits, counting on those cautions. But you didn't have that advantage starting in 22nd tonight. So, getting through all of that traffic, as you said, one by one, is really playing chess at 180 miles per hour. So, hats off and kudos to you, man, for making it like that, up 20 positions. As we head into championship week next week, what are your thoughts and what's your mindset going into championship week at Chicago?
For the Xfinity series, kind of just run, try to stay out of the way of the guys that are still competing for the championship, but not laying over for them either. Chicago will be a good race. I mean, it's pretty much, it's going to be tire wear like Auto Club, but it's going to be probably up towards the wall a little bit towards later in the run as the tires start to wear out.
All right, my man. Well, listen, good luck next week at Chicagoland. Congratulations on the P2 finish tonight. And who do you need to tip your helmet to before we cut you loose?
You guys for broadcasting, as always. Andrew and the guys for putting on the league. Everybody for coming out. And that's about it.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, congratulations once again. We will see you next week for Championship Week. Well, Alan, another one in the books here in the Racers Elite Xfinity Series, and what a show they put on for us tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we're headed one race left for all three series. Tuesday night, the series will wrap up in Las Vegas, and then next Wednesday and Thursday, the series will wrap up here in Chicago. So, a great cookie cutter track there in Chicago. I was ashamed to see it. I was sad to see it go off the schedule, but like you said, it's immortalized here in the iRacing service.
Yes, sir. I completely agree. And before we get out of here, we want to take a final look at our running order here as the checkered flag flew. Ronnie Norman captured that checkered flag and brought home the win here at Auto Club Speedway. He is joined on the podium by Brandon Puffenbarger and Austin Smith. Corey Crowell finishes in fourth position, while Ira Kohlhaas brought home the top five finish in fifth with his number 29 Chevrolet. Ian Campbell came home in sixth, while Truth Hoke and Matthew Jarrett finished in seventh and eighth, respectively. Meanwhile, Dennis Kane finished in ninth, and Todd Slauson in the 88 brought home the end of the top 10. John Schoenbachler finishes in 11th, exactly where he had begun this race, while Brandon Honeycutt finishes in 12th. Gordon Spain finishes 13th with Chris Blasi and Joshua Neal in 14th and 15th. Jeremy Carter, Lee Campbell, Andrew Teft, Kyle Cooper, and Michael Brooks round out your top 20, while Aaron Marquis, Kensley Smith, and Alex Teft finished 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Finishing final in the field tonight, Marshall Harris Azrameen finishes 24th tonight, and unfortunately never got that lap back after starting down in the pits, as we went flag to flag tonight, folks, with no caution. So another perfect night for Alan and Dave here in the broadcast booth. I want to thank all of you out there watching us on YouTube for making us a part of your evening every week as we look forward to Championship Week next week at Chicagoland. So for Alan Bergen and Dave Riegel, I'm glad to be here tonight with you folks, and tomorrow and every day as you walk down the road of life, remember, don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.